Hi Aquarians, this is Sherry with True Tarot for today, and I'm going to be doing your monthly forecast for June 2019. And I've already shuffled your cards and laid out your spread, and so I'm going to begin to tell you the general influences or energies that will be probably affecting some of you for the month. Okay, in your first house, you have a heavy card. It's the Ten of Swords. And so many people this month may be seeing you through some ending or situation. It can sometimes mean, I hate to say it, but, the death of someone close to you. This can be a friend, a relative, a pet. It's a card of endings. Sometimes it can also be leaving a career, leaving a location, but it's one of the hardest cards in the deck. So, in the month of June, something may come up where someone close to you may be experiencing, a crisis or an ending, and people will be hearing about that from you and, knowing that it's affected you or you're very concerned. Okay, in your second house of money, you have the King of Cups. And this is a person that's usually emotionally intelligent, they're creative, they're sensitive, they have good manners. And so some of you may be working with this person and your money is connected with them. Some of you may be getting an offer from this person regarding doing something with your money. It can also mean that some of you are just going to be using your emotions and your intuition if you're doing any sort of investments or thinking about putting your 401k in a certain area or allocating some of your savings. This would imply that you're somewhat emotional, and the card is upright, so it tends to be okay. But, if you're doing investing, sometimes they say, emotional investing isn't really, the best way to do it. It's better to keep kind of logical and look at the numbers. But this is saying that one person may be more inclined to use their intuition or their emotions when it comes to how they use money. So it isn't your typical suit. Aquarians usually show up as swords, but many of you may have a moon or an ascendant in water, or you may have an investor or a financial advisor or an accountant, who's like this. So, you'll have to decide if it's you. And if it's you, just, like I said, don't let your emotions dictate your spending or your investments. Use your mind as well. In your environment, this can be friends, cousins, siblings, even online communications. You have the card of retreat, and so someone is kind of retreating because they're very tired and they need to recharge their battery. This person usually feels a sense of stress or burnout, and so they're just taking time to recover. Some of you may have friends or a family member, that had surgery, and they're just, they're on the down low. They're not as extroverted as they normally would be. And this can go for your neighbors. They just may be cocooning a little bit because some of them feel stressed out or tired and they're recovering. In your home, you have a great card. This is the Queen of Pentacles. This represents comfort, security, liking where you live, cooking, gardening, taking care of others. It's a very nurturing card. It's a very grounded card. And it implies that someone is adept at handling money. And so many of you Aquarians are going to feel very secure and very cozy and very happy to spend time at home. This is the card where you also enjoy the good things in life. Your fifth house represents your children and new relationships, usually romantic. And so you have the sun in this house. It's a beautiful card. So whether it's a new relationship, which I consider a relationship that formed within the last 3 years, or your children, you will derive a lot of happiness from them. Some of you may be hearing news about a happy event with a child. This can be success. This can be a strong relationship that may lead to marriage. This is a card of loyalty, nice friendships. So whether it's a new love or your children, you are going to be having a lot of happy occasions with them. This is beautiful energy. There are no hidden agendas. There's nothing going on in the background. This is like pure friendship, love, loyalty, and a success card. So it bodes very well for your children or a new relationship. In your work house, you have the card of tradition. So, many institutions and corporations are quite structured, and they become cultures of their own. So for some of you Aquarians, this represents the company or corporation that you work for. And it says that, there's a structure, there's rules and regulations that you need to follow. For others of you, it could be a family business because this has to do with family, tradition, culture. You may be working with family. You may be providing family services. Some of you may be in the military or working for a government agency. Some of you may be working for a school system or religious organization. But this is saying that there's a lot of conformity and structure and tradition in the workplace, and you have to follow certain protocols. It is a card where there won't be a lot of drama or upset in the month of June. This is pretty much doing things the tried and true and traditional way. And so for the month of June, I think it will be pretty relaxed at the workplace. Your seventh house is your partnerships, and partnerships can be friends, family, colleagues, mates, children, whoever you consider a partner in your life. And you have the Nine of Wands here. So you do have a partner that's standing their ground. You have a partner somewhere in your life that likes to have the upper hand. They like to have the final say so. This is the card of someone who's worked hard to get where they are, and they defend and protect their territory. So one of your partners may be a little defensive this month. They may be on their guard. They may be a little more irritable than usual. So just take that into account, that it has a lot to do with them not feeling threatened, but just protecting what they feel is theirs. Now, in the eighth house, this represents shared resources and also your bedroom, your intimate life. And you don't have a great card here, Aquarians. This is the card of gossip and backstabbing. It's a negative card. It's a 5. So whoever's doing this, they really want to have some change in their life, but they're misdirecting their competitive energy. So if you're in an intimate relationship, after making love or the afterglow, you may start to hear some gossip about people. There may be a little bit of, someone taking digs at someone, or just kind of making someone look bad so they can look better. So watch that, because this is really a negative card, and even just hearing gossip or slander is never really a good thing. If it's about shared resources, this indicates some kind of nastiness, like there's, some debate or controversy or contention among, more than one individual who's trying to compete. But again, it's not in an open-mannered, broad way. It's in an underhanded way where people are talking again or down-talking someone or trying to take advantage by making someone else look bad. So in the month of, June, if, gossip or negative, discussions come up, I would try to diffuse them. You Aquarians have a lot of poise and diplomacy. And if it's anything about shared resources, that can be inheritances, wills, insurance payouts, custody, alimony, don't expect that it's going to be friendly and above board. It's going to get negative. In your ninth house, this is the house of higher education, travel, lawsuits, and publishing. And you have a beautiful card here. It's the card of the highest productivity or potential to create and nurture in the deck. It's the Empress. And so education would provide a plethora of knowledge and skill. It would be a great time to do that. If it was travel, it would be a very opulent, luxurious trip. It would bring you a lot of nurturing. There would be great food, great sightseeing, great art. So for travel, this is a wonderful card. It does imply some luxury. Maybe a trip where it's a retreat and there's massage as well, or some kind of healing. If it's publishing, this says it would be a very successful venture. There's a market for what you would want to publish, and that would be, in on Amazon, self-publishing, in a publishing house, and in this day and age, a website could fall under the publishing umbrella. And then finally, if it's anything to do with a lawsuit, it might have to do with, forming things with a contract, with a potential business that you're going to open or expand. It could also have to do with an inheritance, because this has to do with opulence and resources. But it would generally be a legal issue regarding money. And so if it's not about the formation of a company or contracts, some of you may be getting a healthy contract that you may need to consult a lawyer about. But it's a positive card. So even though, in the eighth house, this can represent, some forms of, people feeling ownership or litigation or shared resources, you have a very nice card. So I think you're going to be sitting pretty in the month of June, and I would just wait this out. I wouldn't worry about it. In your career house, you have the I Spy card. It's the Page of Swords, and this is your suit. So for many of you in your work in the month of June, you may be doing more research than usual. You may be working with an intern or a student who's doing all the background checks or, the behind-the-scenes research. But it is a card of a need to know. So many of you Aquarians in your fields, you may be vetting people. You may be looking at people's backgrounds. You may be, looking through the numbers and crunching them. It's very much, like I said, an investigative, inquisitive card that implies like a lot of mental work and maybe even attention to details. Sometimes, people will say this card is, like about spying. So, you may be keeping an eye on someone in the workplace. That's also possible. Or just having a need to know, and being kept up to date every day on the status or the goings on in your place, your profession, your place of work. In your friendship house, you have a new money card, and so this is the beginning of wealth. One of your friends may be launching a business. One of your friends may have an inheritance coming. One of your friends may have gotten a payout, and they're planning to do something exciting, with this money. But you may also get approached by one of your friends to actually, partner up with them in some sort of money-making proposition or business. And so one of your friends, is either going to be starting this venture towards higher income and the path of wealth. Maybe some of them have gotten a new job and they're putting a lot of their time and energy into the beginning and learning it. And for others of you, they may approach you, like I said, with a business opportunity that they would like you to be part of. And then finally, in your 12th house, Aquarians, you have the new beginning card, the new relationship card, the new job card, the new creative venture card. And so you do have these two aces next to each other. So one of these friends may actually motivate you to launch something that you've been afraid to launch, because the 12th house represents your prison or how you feel held back. Sometimes it represents your karma, and this is your blind spot. So for many of you, you may have either wanted to launch a project, you may have launched it and it's a burden for you, and that's what you're going to be mulling over in your mind, in the month of June. For others of you, this could also indicate wanting to have a child. And, again, that's like the life force wanting to come forward. So whether it's a creative venture, a business venture, a new relationship, or the birth of a child, this is a lot of ace energy. And so being that this is in your 12th house, it may be that you're feeling burdened that, if you launch something at this stage in the game, you might not achieve success. And the limitation might be your age. It might be the financial base that you're working from, getting a loan and feeling that that's very difficult, getting pregnant, that's very difficult.